The number you have reached, 911, has been changed to a non-published number.
You're listening to UCW Radio. In your face.
Welcome to another segment of the UCW Radio Show. My name is Lou, a.k.a. Falcon Coparis. And I want to thank all of our listeners for their continued support. Just by listening to the show, we're bringing on some great guests, so we appreciate you listening and staying tuned. And I need to send a message out to sponsors, advertisers, marketers. If you're interested in a sponsorship partnership opportunity with the UCW Radio Show, just go to ucwmagazine.com and contact us, and we are all ears listening to your proposal. Now, in just a little while, we're going to have a comedian from the New England area. She is actually one of the busiest comedians in that area. She's performed coast to coast. She has pretty much wooed audiences, both of alternative audiences and mainstream audiences. The bottom line is she has a bright future ahead of her. She is a dynamite gal, and we're going to get her on the line in about a minute. I think that, well, let me say not think, I know that our listeners will find the story of her journey amazing. I think it is. Okay, but we're going to get to her in a second. I just need to give our listeners just a little bit of information. If you want to call in, you can call in at 323-952-4369. Give us a call with your questions, your comments, whatever it may be. If you want to find out who's on the show, go to ucwmagazine.com. You can find that easily just by going there. We try to put a schedule up, but keep in mind that sometimes the schedule does change. So it's all subject to change. So you can leave us your questions, comments, and things of that nature. Again, sponsors, go to ucwmagazine.com and get in touch with us for those partnership opportunities. And if you're on Twitter, you can shoot me out some questions, comments, things of that nature. Yes, I am a social networking guy as well. And if you have a question for our guest, shoot it out to me, tweet it out, and we'll try to add it as part of the show. We'll try to pose those questions or comments to our guests. Just make it interesting, because we do want you a part of the show. So try to get involved. My Twitter name is Louis Velazquez. That's LOUISVELAZQUEZ. So follow me and ask away. Now, without further ado, let's patch in this great New England talent, the comedic genius, and I'm calling her that. Her name is Amy T. Let's get her on the line. Amy, it's great to have you on the UCW Radio Show. I want to thank you in advance for being with us today. It's a great pleasure.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, awesome. You know, we always appreciate the time that our guests put aside. I say it every show, but it is true, because you are busy and you are taking time out for the show to tell your story. Amy, you're tagged as the busiest comedian in the New England area. You perform... Well, you're tagged. You're busy. You're busy. Don't minimize that. You're busy. You're a busy comedian. You perform coast to coast. You wooed audience, both alternative and mainstream audiences. But there's so much more to you than the finished product. So before we get into your current events and standings and what you have going on comedy-wise, I like to start at the very beginning and get to the core of who Amy T is. Did you grow up in New England?
I did. I grew up in the Boston area. I've lived there all my life. And, yeah, that's about it. Lived there all my life. Love it.
Okay, yeah, we had some New England, actually some Boston natives on the show over the past week. They have the cage fighting extreme. They're from Boston. And, yeah, so they're over there, too. So, yeah, look at all you performers over there. Comedy and all.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, Boston's coming out. But Amy, let me ask you, what what led you into the realm of comedy? I'm curious because not every the people just don't wake up one day and say, "Oh, well, I want to be a comedian. I want to be like Jerry Seinfeld." Did something happen that made you want to do that?
I think I can remember being like a teenager in high school watching. You remember when Rosie O'Donnell hosted VH1 Stand Up Spotlight?
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember watching that as a teenager in high school, and I'm like, I love that. I used to love comedy and watch it all the time. And then at some point in my mid-20s, I decided that I wanted to cross it off my life list. I'm like, you know what? I want to try it. And a very dear friend of mine who's since passed away encouraged me to at least try it. She's like, you got to try it, Amy T. You're funny. I think it'd be perfect for you. And so I did. I performed my first time, I guess it was about 5 or 6 years ago now, and I fell in love. I was hooked. It was like my drug of choice instantly when I got my first laugh, and been committed to it ever since.
Well, it showed you that, hey, you are funny. It wasn't just your family laughing at you and then really just laughing at you because you weren't that funny.
Exactly.
They were just making fun of you, like, hey, she thinks she's going to do that. I don't know. Yeah. Was your family supportive of you pursuing comedy?
Very supportive. Matter of fact, my mom comes to whenever I'm in the New England area. She tries to make all my shows. She's probably over proud of me. Mm-hmm. And she gets a kick out of it when I write jokes about her and my father, and it makes it that much more fun when they're in the audience because I can play off of them.
Right. Well, it gives you some food for your show.
Absolutely, please, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. But that's good. That's good that your family supported you, because I think that with anything you do in life, whether it be comedy, acting, anything, if you have just one person that believes in you, that is the fuel that you need to go reach for your dreams. So I think too many people, they kind of, they fall by the wayside. They're afraid to go for their dreams, but you weren't afraid. I mean, this is something you said, I'm going to give it a shot, and you have been reaching for that brass ring ever since.
Absolutely. I think that it's just, you have to have a passion in life, and when that little voice inside of you speaks to you, and it just felt right. That first time I was on stage, it's like another piece of the puzzle of my life just kind of like clicked in, and I was like, oh yeah, I definitely think I'm meant to do this in some sort of facet in my life, and now I make a living at it.
Well, that's awesome. I think so. It was like a situation where you didn't dream about this when you were a kid. It was something that someone said, hey, you're funny. You should give it a shot, and you gave it a shot, and this is what happened. But I'm going to ask you this. I'm gonna go back to your first performance. I know you felt comfortable when you were on stage, but come on, tell me, when you were in the back getting prepped for your show, how did it feel before you stepped on stage, before that light was on you?
It's an adrenaline rush that the word nervous is like an understatement. I remember just that adrenaline rush of excitement and nervousness, and of course, you're going out on stage for the first time performing a 5-minute bit of material, hoping that you've written, hoping to make people laugh. So it's a little bit of anxiety at the same time as it is excitement. You know what I mean? It's all ends of the spectrum. Okay. When you're waiting to go on stage, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's what I get from comedians that I speak to. I hear similar things because, you can't explain the feeling, but it's there, and it's like something that's surreal.
Yeah, exactly. It is almost like an out-of-body experience.
Yeah, exactly.
And if I think about it, going back 6 years ago, my first performance, I could go right back to every single one of those emotions before I stepped foot on stage.
That's interesting. We had, you've been doing this, for about 5 years or so now?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Yeah, because we had another comedian that you may be familiar with. She's a cougar comedian, Tracy Tedesco.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had her on the show.
I haven't met her, but I am familiar with her, yeah.
Yeah, well, one thing that she said to me, and I'm sure that you can relate, she said that, she's doing it for about the same time you are, and she said, I'm still a baby in the field of comedy, because as Jerry Seinfeld said, is that when you're 6 or 10 years in, it's like you're 10 years old as a child and you're just still growing. Do you feel that same way?
Absolutely. I think every year that has gone by, I've matured on stage. My style has changed, and I still think that I think recently in the last year I've found what I call my voice. It's like, okay, now I think I've found exactly how it fits for me to act on stage, be on stage, my persona on stage, and I think it's been 5 years in the making of performance after performance. I tape every single one of my sets so that I can watch. It's like homework to me. I watch and I see, okay, how did I say something different? How did I do something different? Was my facial expression better or worse? The same joke that got a laugh 5 times in a row with 5 different audiences tanked tonight. Why did that happen? So I'm constantly trying to improve myself and improve my writing, and I don't think you ever reach a point, or it's just my opinion, I don't think that you can ever reach a point where you're done growing and developing yourself as a comic. I think because things around you change all the time, current events change, so you can constantly improve.
Oh, man, I love that you said that, because a lot of, again, we have actors, models, we have all types of people on the show in the realm of entertainment, the world of entertainment. And one thing that's a constant, whether you're a comedian, whatever you are, it's the same thing. I hear it over and over and over again. It's honing your skills, studying, doing your due diligence, learning, always a learning process. And the more I speak to people in the world of entertainment, the more it seems, and I hope our listeners are hearing this, that is a key element in succeeding, not only in entertainment, but in anything you do in life. You have to
Absolutely.
know. You have to know the thing. If you play football, you study the reels. You have to. And that's what they do in the back room. That's what you're doing. You're studying your reels to get yourself better, so you're more prepared, and so on and so forth. I think that's fantastic. Amy, your journey hasn't been an easy one. Can you let our listeners know, from the time you started comedy, what really happens? Because they see the end result. They see you on stage performing and everything. I like going behind the scenes where you're actually, busting your butt, going through your routine, doing your thing, all the hours you put into it just to get that end result. Can you give us a glimpse into that part of your life?
If an audience member is watching, me perform like a 20-30 minute set, that 20 or 30 minutes that they're watching probably took me, 50 or 60 performances to perfect. And probably tons and tons of writing hours. It's not all that glamorous sometimes. Sometimes you're driving, to Caribou, Maine, which is like an 8-hour drive to perform for 15 minutes in front of, and for me, living in an alternative lifestyle, you're in Caribou, Maine, and then, there's a lot of funny stereotypes about people from Maine. But first of all, their teeth aren't missing, they're just black. But,
That's
but
funny.
it can be scary for someone of an alternative lifestyle, because I don't change my act no matter where I might tailor it just a little bit, but I don't my physical appearance, it obviously says that I'm a lesbian. So right when I come on stage, you're going to know that I'm probably of an alternative lifestyle, but it can also be scary performing in front of different audiences, because you're not sure what you're going to get for reaction. Some people have very, very strong opinions on homosexuality, and that's where hate crimes come from. So that can be kind of nerve-wracking sometimes.
Yeah.
You like you said, you drive 8 hours to a gig, or 3 or 4 hours to a gig for $25, $50 just to get stage time, just to get better, just to get practicing, and then hopefully get your name and face out there so that people can see your talent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sorry.
You spend a lot of time in a car,
right.
Traveling as a comic. Like right now, I'm driving to New York City, which is 4 hours for me to work this weekend.
Oh, really? Well, maybe I'll go see you.
Good.
Maybe I'll go to your show.
Right.
I'm in New York.
Oh, no kidding. That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
So we'll talk about that later. But but I like you and I appreciate you sharing that, because I think again a lot of people see the end result. They don't see what's involved with you bouncing from gig to gig, from town to town, from county to county. And I told you, and I made mention of Tracy Tedesco, and the reason I did is because she mentioned two things. The first thing I mentioned before. The second thing she mentioned to me was that it's hard for a woman in comedy because sometimes you don't get the respect. Now, when they make the announcement, they say, well, XYZ, this guy's a comic, come on board, and the guy's up there, he's announced normally. But a woman is like, you have so and so, she's a female comic. Okay?
Yep, absolutely.
And now for you, now she had it rough, and still women in comedy have it rough. You see the end result with the Ellen DeGeneres, this and that, and Rosie O'Donnell, all this stuff. But there's a path that you have to go, and it's a rough path. Now for you, it's even that much. It must be that much more difficult, I would think.
I think sometimes I get frustrated because yes, I'm a lesbian comic, or yes, I'm a lesbian, yes, I'm a comedian, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm just a lesbian comic.
Right.
And so sometimes I get pigeonholed into a certain niche of area. I do a lot of the gay shows, or Provincetown, or women's festivals and stuff like that, which is great. I mean, it's great, but it's also tougher to get bigger mainstream work because there's a million comics out there, and then if you get that one stigma. And some people don't like it, so it's hard to, fun. To me, I don't care if you're gay or straight. Funny is funny. If you think I'm funny, I'm funny. It doesn't matter that I'm a lesbian or I'm not a lesbian. If I can still make you laugh, that's what's universal.
But that's the thing that throws me back, and I'm going to go into another person that I interviewed. She's a woman, but she's a promoter, and she developed an organization. I mentioned it earlier, Cage Fighting FX. It's a woman. She runs a mixed martial arts event. She has like 8,000 people at her events in New England, in Massachusetts. Okay, but still, she still faces that stigma of being, a woman in that realm. Okay, and it's like it shouldn't be. It should be you're not a man, woman. Doesn't matter what you are. If you're funny, like in your situation, you're funny. You're funny. That's it. It's funny. But it seems that people seem to want to tag you and put it on your head. Say this is the type of comedian you are. That's the mold that you're in, and that's it. And that's who you are. But that's the furthest thing from the truth.
Absolutely, and unfortunately, I think a lot of times, and especially like when you talk about the woman promoter that does the cage fighting and stuff, for lack of better terms, I mean it's a man's world in a sense, and so I don't think I can imagine she wouldn't get the same respect as a man promoting cage fighting, and I think comedy is mostly seen as a heterosexual male kind of world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I see that because but the thing is that you look at. Let me go into one of the greats, Gilda Radner. Okay, you have.
Oh, geez, yeah.
You have. I mean, God rest her soul, but you have comedians that are women that are so hilarious. Tracy Ullman. I mean, so hilarious. Okay, but you're right. You have a Jerry Seinfeld that has achieved greater fame, stardom, everything else, success than someone else that may be equal to him, but is a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and again, it's sad, but that's the society we live in, and but that's what made your path just rougher than it should have been. Again, that's my opinion, because you can look at it as an advantage or disadvantage. And in your case, what do you consider that? Do you consider that an advantage or just a hurdle that you have to get over?
I think it's just a little bit of an obstacle, and I think it's just a matter of progression in society.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like once you start getting people to think that we're all human, we're all on an even playing field.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just an obstacle.
Right. Well, that's good that you look at that, because then you're looking at the glass half full instead of half empty. Where most people,
Always.
yeah, because you have so much negativity out there, and again, it's sad. And you mentioned, hate crimes, this and that, and again, I'm just because we're talking about it. I think it's just wrong. People are people. As long as nobody's bothering you, just let people live. I mean, that's the way it should be. I personally don't care. As long as
Exactly.
as long as nobody's doing anything to me, then what do I care? Enjoy your life, be happy.
Yep. I'm not hurting you. Then it shouldn't matter whatsoever.
That's,
But then, I've had some hecklers, and they always seem to be men hecklers that at the end of a performance that I wouldn't leave without having somebody with me, like another one of the guy comics walk me to my car, or where I've been a little nervous because you're always in a drinking environment too when you perform, so you get somebody that's had a little bit too much alcohol and they want to seem to think they're the ones that can change you. All you need is a good man, and then you won't be a lesbian anymore kind of mentality.
right.
I have been, nervous before.
Well, I mean,
that way.
I don't blame you, but you have, and I'm going to say this, you have a lot of idiots out there with that mentality, where they have their head shoved where it shouldn't be, and it just, look, you're out there, you're performing, you shouldn't be worried about walking to your car and all that stuff, and it's sad, and I feel for you, because you're out there trying to build something, and you're sending a message, even though you're a comedian, but you're also sending a message, and you know what, I think that what you're doing, and the rough road that you're on right now, that you're going to be very successful in what you do. And you are successful, but I know you're going to be even further successful. You wouldn't be on this show if I didn't think that.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome, but it's true. It's true. Anyone that we have on the show, we see great things in their lives and their careers. And having your story, or having the honor and the ability on our end to have you tell your story is what makes the UCW radio show what it is. And we try to send a message of inspiration, and it's guests like you that are helping us to do that. Now we're going to get a little serious. We've been kind of serious, but we're going to get a little serious as beyond comedy, because I want to get your views on certain things. If it's okay with you, if it's not, I understand. But everyone has views on gay rights in America today. I don't want to get too political, but I'm just curious on what you think. Do you think that enough is being done, or not enough being done as far as gay rights? And if not enough is being done, how would things get better?
I don't even like, sometimes like the term gay rights kind of frustrates me, because I don't feel like it's gay rights. I feel like it's human rights.
Okay.
I want just the same opportunities and privileges that heterosexual people have. I want the same kind of tax deductions and those kind of things, and which just makes it human rights.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. That's basically what it is. We're all human beings. It doesn't matter, that who I sleep with at the end of the day. I'm still a human being, and I deserve the same rights that you have, that my parents have, that the guy that's driving in the car next to me has. I don't think it's a matter of gay rights. I don't like that term, so to speak. It's like putting us back, like, civil rights. It's not civil rights. It's what another human being deserves.
Right. And I agree with that, because and again we'll crank back time a little bit. And, you talk about civil rights, and first you had women's rights and civil rights and gay rights, but whenever all these rights are given, then it becomes part of human rights. So yeah, having rights as a human being is, that's you're born, you have certain rights as a human being. Why can't you have the deductions that regular heterosexual would have? There's no reason. Just again, you're right. Who you're with in a relationship doesn't matter. Okay, if you're happy.
I don't think it's fair that somebody else has the right to tell me that either. I'm fortunate Boston, Massachusetts, and we've had gay marriage now for, Christ, 6 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And now, slowly but surely, the other states are starting to creep up. I mean, we've got Maine of all places passed gay marriage, and yet California, with the biggest population, can't seem to get Prop 8 passed.
Right. Fascinating
to me. Of all places, California is struggling to pass gay marriage, and I think that's ridiculous. But I got married. Jesus, I've been separated from my wife 4 years. So I got married the year that gay marriage was legal. So that was 2003, 4, whatever it was.
Okay.
And my wife and I got married, but then I just went through the divorce this year. So I started to go through the same process as, you would, or another heterosexual couple in Massachusetts would.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really no different. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
But look, the bottom line is divorce sucks.
Absolutely. I mean, it was the hardest thing I ever had. One of the hardest things I've had to do was,
Sure.
Stand in front of the judge in that courtroom and say I was getting divorced. And to me, it was not only obviously a personal obstacle and an upset for me personally, but it also was a little bit humbling too, because it's all right, so we fought all this time to get married, and I feel like now people are well, see, you give them gay marriage, now they don't even want it. Well, it's not so much that. Sometimes it's just relationships just don't work. You know what I mean? It's not anybody's fault. Although it was hers.
Dig.
I'm kidding. No, my ex-wife and I are very close friends now. But it's nobody looks at a straight couple and looks at them with a hairy eyeball. But if you say, oh, well, you're a gay couple getting divorced, it's kind of taboo, And I think for a long time we waited 4 years. We've been separated for 4.5 years, and we finally got divorced this year. And I think it was one of those things, because I am in the public eye. We kind of just waited because we didn't want it to be so fresh.
Right. No, I understand that fully, because it's not like you're just like the average Joe or Jane, and you're there and you go through this, because divorce is divorce. I don't care who you're married to. Divorce is divorce. It sucks. You have to go through the court system, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, I know stuff about that. So, but when you're in the public eye, it puts more pressure on the situation, because now you get divorced. Now it's public record, the internet, this, that, and Amy T this, Amy T that, and blah, 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 and blah, 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 and things come out. And it just makes it even harder for you to even go through that process. And it is a personal situation, but being in the public eye, it becomes a public situation. But I'm sorry to hear about the divorcing. I know it's a tough thing, but yeah, you're right. You get married. You have the rights. You get married. Fantastic. Things don't work out. Yeah, that's life.
Mm-hmm.
That is life. It doesn't matter what you are. Straight, gay, whatever it is. You go through stuff. But anyway, I think we're gonna kind of change topics, so we can get on to some more stuff about you. Because I love the fact that we're learning so much about you on this show. It is fantastic. But you've been in some films. Can you tell us what films you were in? You were in a couple, I believe.
I was in most recently. I was in a documentary series called Laughing Matters Next Gen that's now airing on the gay channel called Logo. That's on cable.
Okay.
And it's the 4th installment of the Laughing Matters series, which is so crazy to me, because a few years ago, the first Laughing Matters series was with Suzanne Westenhofer, Kate Clinton. And I remember when that was on, and I remember watching it, and I remember going, I want to do that. I want to be in the Laughing Matters series. And this was just the first one, and then they came out with the second one. So I put the cover of the DVD, a picture of it, on my vision board.
Okay.
And I put that on my vision board, and a few months later, the producer of the documentary series, Andrea Meyerson, who is All Out Films, called me and said, I'm producing my my fourth installment, Laughing Matters Next Generation, and it's a documentary series of up-and-coming young comics across the country, and I would like for you to be one of them. I couldn't, like, it was literally a dream come true. I couldn't even believe it. I remember getting the email, and I sent her the email back, and she's in Los Angeles, and I sent her the email back, and I go, in probably about 3 hours, you're going to hear the scream coming from Boston, because I was just so excited. So that's the most recent one that I've been doing. I've done a couple of little indie things for local people.
But that's a great story. You know, I mean, you wanted something, or you saw something. You said, I can do this. I want to do it. You put it up on your vision board. You put it up there. Now you're looking at this every day. You know, and it becomes a situation that, okay, it's a dream. But some people, and this bothers me, some people, they look at something and say, oh, you know, I could do that, but, you know, it's too much work. I'll never do it because it'll never happen for me. You know, it bothers me when people have that mentality. But you took that thing, you put it on your board, you're looking at it every day. You know this is going to happen for you. It's not about not happening. You know it's going to happen.
It's funny because I can't tell you. Every 6 months or so, I update my vision board, and when something comes true, I cover it up and I put something new on there. And I was looking at it a couple of months ago. I think it was like the 1st of July. I was looking at it and going, I can't believe all the things that I've wanted and dreamt about, how much has come true, whether it's the movie. I put a picture of a Hummer H3 on my vision board, and that's what I'm driving right now, right down to the color.
So you drive that gas guzzler. All right, okay, we got you.
Is that like the dichotomy of a lesbian? Because we're so crunchy and so earthy, and we want to save the planet. And, you know, here I am driving my orange Hummer to the recycle station every Wednesday and Saturday.
Now that's funny. Now that's funny, yeah, because it's like, well, I want to save the planet, yeah, but you know something, I'm also polluting it. So thank you very much. Have a nice day. But that's pretty funny. So yeah, so you do that, and when you see things happening for yourself.
Well, I also believe, like, you know, you can talk about it all you want. Like, oh, you know, you want to do this, you want to do that, but you also got to go and make things happen for yourself. And that's what I'm a believer in, making things happen.
And that.
So many people I know talk about, like, oh, I want to run a marathon, or I want to, you know, bike ride across country for AIDS, or whatever the hell they, you know, want to do, but they just talk about it, and they never, you know, take the step to making that happen. And, you know, if I say I want to do something, I will do my damnedest to at least make an attempt. I might not be able to do it. Maybe I won't be able to finish the marathon, but I might be the last one across the finish line, but at least I'll finish.
Well, that's why I want to give clarity to this, because it's not like you're throwing something on a board saying, oh, I hope, and sitting there on your knees, I hope it happens, I hope it happens. No, you're actually making it happen. See, some people have a misconception that, hey, you know what, I'll put it there and I'm going to look at it every day and it's going to just, you know, happen. You have to work towards it. There has to be effort in it.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have to be proactive in your dreams, I think.
Yeah, well, and that's
find you.
Yeah, well, exactly, and that's. I'm glad that we brought that up. Now, Amy, I want to talk about your show. You had a tour that you were on. It's called the 2 Dyke Minimum. I saw this and I started laughing so hard. But you got a lot of praise for that. Now, how did that show come about? And you were doing it. You were a co-host, or you had someone with you on it.
Yes, my dear friend Sandra Valls, who is based in Los Angeles, she's done a ton of stuff. She's done One Night Stand Up on Logo. She's been one of the Latin divas of comedy that was airing on Showtime, and she's been touring with that too across the country. I met Sandra in Los Angeles about 4 years ago, and I called her one day. I met her out in Los Angeles at a gay and lesbian comedy festival called Outlaw. And she goes, "You're Amy T." And I had just started comedy, maybe a year and a half into it. And I was like, "Well, how do you know me?" She goes, "Because she was originally from Boston about 10 or 12 years ago." And she goes, "Because when I came home to Boston, everybody was talking about Amy T, Amy T, Amy T. Amy T sells out this venue. Amy T does this. And she goes, I wanted to know who this ABT was. And so she goes, I can't believe I met you, dude. And so we hugged it out and we talked and we just became fast and furious, instant friends.
Cool.
And matter of fact, she's responsible for getting me into practicing a Buddhist lifestyle. And we decided to do the show called Two Dyke Minimum, you know, to kind of play off the 2-drink minimum thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went on tour. We did like 12 shows in 14 days over 6 states. So we were in a car constantly, which can get kind of crowded, but we had the time of our lives. And both of our careers went into, that was not this past summer, but the summer before we did it. And now she was just here working in Provincetown, and we were like, we got to go back out on the road again. So we are going to do that, bring that back in 2010 and go back out on the road with the Two Dyke Minimum Tour. And it's a co-headlining show. We each do like 35 to 45 minutes apiece. Sometimes at different cities, we will pick up a couple of local comics to open up for us and give them an opportunity to perform and get some stage time on a show like that. And it seems like right when we started Two Dyke Minimum, a bunch of different shows started popping up very similar, like whether it's Dykes on Mics or Dykes at Hazard and that kind of thing. People started running with touring with a group in a name and stuff like that.
Oh,
so it's a great time, and I'm looking forward to going out on the road with her again.
Oh, you guys did that first, and I mean, I guess the ultimate form of flattery is someone copying you.
Absolutely, you know, and it's like, and I think as a different generation of comedy coming up, as a younger generation comedy coming up, there's not a lot of, I know in my comedy circle, we don't feel a lot of competitive. Instead of feeling like, how do I describe it? Instead of feeling competitive and like, oh, well, we're going to do that show instead of you, it's more like, hey, why don't you do the show together? Like, we'll all do it. And so that we all can get work and we all can get exposure and work together, because there's nothing more fun than working with your friends. So, like my group that did the movie with me, Laughing Matters Next Gen, there was 6 of us. They came to New England for 2 weeks, and we did a tour. The 6 of us did a tour for 2 weeks for the Laughing Matters Next Gen tour in the New England area in April, and it was just a good time. And it's a way for us to kind of have a bonding, but also share the excitement and also share the exposure and share the experiences and stuff. And I'm trying to think of the word that I'm trying to think of, but
well, you have the camaraderie, whatever. I'm like retarded today. It's been a long day, but you guys work as a unit. You guys support each other. You go and you get it done. And I mean, I think that's fantastic. And I see that with comedy a lot, because where everyone's fighting to get where they need to go. I mean, in acting and stuff like that, but in comedy it's a little bit different. And I kind of look at it and I say, okay, I guess the way I can describe it is like SNL.
Yep.
Okay, like SNL, where everyone is doing their thing, but they all support each other. They're all having a good time doing what they do.
Absolutely, and they all have, like, you know, individual careers as well as one together.
Right, and then that's it. But that's how one supports the other, is like, you know, and then you keep pushing forward and forging forward. And I think there's nothing better than that. And when you have your tour, and I like this, is that you're giving these young comedians a shot, and that, because you know the struggle in comedy and how hard it is to get where you need to get, that to give someone a shot in front of your audience to go perform, you know, you can't get any better than that. It's better than going somewhere and not knowing what you're doing, not knowing anything, just going there and performing for a random crowd. You're actually giving them an opportunity for a certain crowd to perform before you. And then that I pat you on the back for, because you're giving these young comics a shot. And that's fantastic. You know, go ahead.
And you also want to pay it forward. You know, somebody gave me an opportunity, so you want to pay that forward.
Yeah, but that's the only way to do it, because the alternative is what? You know, thinking about yourself, and what fulfillment is that? You know, when you do great things, the best thing that you can do when you progress in life is help the next man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the way to do it. Now, Amy, you have a lot of stuff going on. Okay, right now you're driving to New York, so you're in your car, we're on the phone, you're in your Hummer, okay, and you're going to New York, we're on the phone. Where are you going? Where are you performing tonight or tomorrow?
This weekend, actually, remember I was telling you earlier, you never stop learning?
Yes.
This weekend I'm going to New York City to take the Judy Carter comedy workshop. Judy Carter is the author of, our Bible, literally called the Comedy Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And she is giving a stand-up workshop. And because I've always absolutely, been so fascinated by this woman, she's had an amazing career as a stand-up performer, as a sitcom writer, as a sitcom actress, I should say. She was coming to New York City this weekend to do a very intimate workshop at the Gotham Comedy Club. So for my birthday, I was given that workshop from my girlfriend. So I'm so excited. So that's why I'm coming to New York City. I was supposed to perform tomorrow night at Eastville, but my show got postponed until next month. So I'll be back next month to perform at the Eastville Comedy Club. But that's why I'm driving to New York City, because I never want to stop learning. I never want to to be tutored under such an amazing status of a woman. I'm a little starstruck. I know I'm going to be nervous as hell on Sunday, meeting her for the first time, and then performing my material in front of her is going to be, it's probably a little nerve-wracking,
Yeah, I could see that, but it's amazing that you're out there and you're on TV, you're at the TV show, you're in movies, stuff like that. You're doing stuff. You're out there performing, doing your tours, everything, and you are accomplished as a comedian. But you're still on your growth pattern, and I'm thrown back because now you're going to even learn more from the best. I mean, There's nothing. I mean, that's fantastic because you don't stop honing your skills. You know what you're trying to do, and you're not too big of a person that you can't learn from someone else.
Absolutely not. And you know what? I'm thinking by the time this workshop's over on the end of Sunday, she'll give me the experience and the guidance maybe to take it to another level.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I mean, I'm speechless about that because, and I know with comedians, from speaking to several comedians, that you're always learning, you're always going on stage, and you try new things out with a different crowd, and you keep honing your skills. But going out there learning from another comedian is like sending a message. Hey, you know what? You're never too good that you can't learn from someone else.
Absolutely.
And that's fantastic. Amy, now let's talk about your performances that you have coming up. Where can people see you?
Let me see. What do I got? I'll be in the Boston area this Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'll be working in East Hampton, Mass. On Saturday the 19th. I'll be in Asbury Park doing the Rocktoberfest with Christine Martucci. I'm going to be hosting that show in Asbury Park, New Jersey, on October 3rd. And a really special benefit that I'm doing in Nutley, New Jersey, on November 1st is for the Angel Initiative, which is for the AFSP, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and Mental Health Awareness, which is really near and dear to my heart. My girlfriend now, her mom committed suicide 3 years ago, so she made it her mission to, obviously help prevent suicide and to make, society aware of the struggles of people with mental illness and hopefully get those that are struggling with mental illness the help that they need and the support that they need. So I'll be doing a benefit in Nutley November 1st on Sunday at the Starlight Dance Lounge, I guess Starlight Dance Studio, excuse me. Okay. I'll also be on the new lesbian cruise line called Sweet, November 8th through the 15th. We're going to be doing a Western Caribbean cruise, which another thing, I put it on my vision board in January, first week, January 1st, and then first week in April, she sent me a text message, and she said, you know what, I would like to have you come and perform on my cruise for me. So I'm completely overwhelmed by that. I'm so excited. I'm going to be on a boat with 2,000 lesbians, cruising the Western Caribbean, performing a couple of shows while I'm there with a bunch of friends of mine, other comics, Sandra Valls, Gloria Bigelow, Suzanne Westenhofer. Some of the audience might know her. she's a big deal in our community. So I'm really looking forward to that, and just doing a lot of. I like to do a lot of benefits. I like to give back to charities and organizations. So, Breast Cancer Awareness Month is in October, so I have something coming up for that in the Boston area where I like to donate my time as much as possible because I feel like that's my way of giving back to the community, for anything. So, like I said, the AFSP that I'll be performing for, I'm also doing a fundraiser in Salisbury, Mass. In October for the AFSP, and a bunch of my comedy friends signed right on. I called them up. I said, listen, I'm doing a benefit. I can't pay you any money because I want all the money to go to this. And I had to literally whittle down the list to 8 comics because I would have had a 24-hour show for an entire weekend with all the people that said that they would do that to help me out. So, but mostly I'll be in the New England area for the next couple of months. And then hopefully in 2010 I'll be going out across the country on the 2 Dyke Minimum Tour with Sandra. That
is awesome. And I got to say that your story, and I said it before, but I'm saying it now again, that I'm throwing back. And I want to wish you a happy belated birthday, by the way, because I wasn't aware.
Thank you so much.
And I'm sorry to hear about your girlfriend's mom and everything. That's I hate hearing about horrible things like that. But maybe it's a little, maybe the word is wrong, but I'm gonna say I'm proud of you for what you're doing. Okay, because you're actually, taking the gift that you have and you're going out and doing great things with it, and I think that's fantastic. And again, as I said, your future's getting brighter and brighter. Amy, now people can go and find out more about you on your official website, right?
Yeah, and right now I'm making it under construction right now, so it's a little dated in far as my dates, but there's a link that puts it right to my MySpace, which is MySpace.com/Amy Tiki, which has a ton of lists of my performances and where I'm going to be, and I'm updating it all the time because I get calls all the time to perform. So that's a current update, or you can always contact me on Facebook, and that's also Amy Tiki. And then you can go to my website, AmyT.com, and that'll direct you to both places that you can catch up with me. I answer all my own Facebook and MySpace messages, so if you do contact me and it takes me a couple of days, that's why I do it myself, so I can try to stay connected to the fans. I like that.
That's
Matter of
awesome.
fact, yesterday, all afternoon, this woman who's a fan of mine that comes to my shows all the time contacted me. She's like, can you tell me the joke? Can you do me a favor? A friend of mine's going through a breakup. Can you tell me the joke that you do about, not being friends with your exes or whatever? And I wrote it back. I'm like, it's not my joke. She goes, it is your joke. And I'm like, it's not. We are, not so much argued, but went back and forth for about 6 or 8 different times. And I'm trying to convince her. She's like, look at the tape. And I'm like, I did look at the tape, and it's not my joke. And she insists that I do this joke about not being friends with my exes, which couldn't be more further from the truth. But so I do try to stay connected to my fans and try to make them friends. I hate calling fans because I think I like to say friends.
Okay, well, I'm going to say something to our listeners and then your friends out there that follow your career. Do Amy a favor. Please don't ask her stupid questions, and then you ask a question, and you're going to sit and continue to force it down her throat. She's busy. And it's great that you connect with your friends/fans in that way, because it makes you more human. And I think that's fantastic. Now, do you Twitter at all?
I do tweet, and that's also Amy Teehee. I can't get into the tweeting. I really can't. And I have to be honest about the tweets. My girlfriend does it for me. Okay. I'm like, she'll be like, well, I tweeted for you today. I'm like, what'd you do? She's like, oh, I said that you went out to mow the lawn. I'm like, well, yeah, that's what I did. She goes, well, I told him that. And I'm like, okay. So I have to say I don't do my own tweets. My girlfriend does them for me. I just can't get I can't get a hold of it. I can't figure out the phenomenon behind it yet. So
you
I let her do it.
Yeah, you don't want to be like John Mayer, I guess.
I know, I really don't, and I feel like you know what? If you want to know what I'm doing, just check my Facebook status. That's basically the same thing.
Right, that's no John Mayer for you. Amy, one last thing, because I know you're driving to New York, and I'm kind of engulfing your drive, which it could be a good and a bad thing. I don't want to get you into an accident. God forbid.
Right now.
Huh?
I said it's an absolute good thing right now. You're making the time go by.
All right, thumbs up for us. But you know, I want you to actually do something for me if you can. You know, and actually for our listeners or for anyone that's listening to the show that may live an alternative lifestyle or may be facing a hurdle, not even just alternative lifestyle, but just may be facing a hurdle, and they wanted to pursue a career in acting or comedy or anything in entertainment. What advice would you give them?
Follow your heart. Listen to that voice inside of you that when you're that passionate about something, you'll feel it. You feel it. You'll know that you're doing the right things. Like I've, several times, over the past few years, I wonder. I'm like, I don't know if this is for me. Because financially sometimes it was a struggle. I'm like, I don't know if this is for me. Maybe I shouldn't, try to pursue this as much as I am. Maybe I should just go get a career like a normal person and like a corporate job in 9 to 5, and then something will happen, like getting the email that says I'm going to be in the next Laughing Matters DVD series, and that says to me, you know what, I am on the right path. So you have to listen to that little bit of a voice. You have to follow your heart and be passionate about something. If you're passionate about acting or singing or even being an accountant, if you're passionate about crunching numbers, then just continue following your dreams, and nothing should stop you. I don't think anything should stop you when you believe in believing in your own self. I think that's important.
And that I can't even add on to that. You said it all. Amy, I gotta say your journey to this point is great. Again, we started out. I knew some things about you. We went into some other stuff. You opened up, and I appreciate that. I learned more about you, and I like you more as a person now than I did 45 minutes ago.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's the truth, because you're real. You seem to be a great person. I like the way I like the things that you said. Right now, you're still in the growth process of your career, as we talked about the stages of comedy, as Tracy Tedesco mentioned to me, and as you confirmed it being what it is, that you're going through the growth thing. You're crawling, then you're going to walk, you're walking, you're going to run, and the whole story. And you're still getting there. You have a bright future ahead of you. I have no doubt in my mind about it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the UCW radio show. Thank you so much for sharing yourself and taking the time, but sharing a piece of yourself, because that's what you did. You shared a piece of yourself with us and our listeners, and I appreciate it. And it was really awesome having you on. We want to do something. We want to have you on again in the future, because I want to follow up. Yeah, because I want to follow up with you. I want to follow up on your career. I want to follow up on the Two Dyke Minimum Tour, and I want to follow up on all that stuff, because we like, showing our listeners, hey, this is our guest today, and show the progression later on, because that shows that it can be done. And you're doing it, and you're going to show that it can be done. And it would be fantastic to do that.
On any time, honestly.
That's fantastic. That's wonderful. Now, our listeners, they can follow Amy T's career. Go to our official website, which is amyt.com. That's TEE. Or go to her MySpace, which every time I see this, I laugh. It's myspace.com/Amy T-He, like in T-He-He, like you're laughing. So go to her MySpace. Facebook, she connects with her fans, which she calls friends, and keep in touch and keep on top of her career, because she's going to continue to get brighter and brighter and better, and soon enough you're going to see her on top of the mountain, and as far as comedy, as far as life is concerned, because she has the right attitude. And Amy, I want to wish you all the best of luck with everything, and we will follow up with you in the next few months.
fantastic. Thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of your day. I really appreciate having me on.
You too. Be careful driving.
Initiating shutdown sequence.
What is your major malfunction?
So let it be written. So let it be done.
Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you.